What if everything you believe about your identity is just an illusion? What if the you that you've spent your whole life building isn't the real you at all? This isn't just some abstract philosophical question. It cuts to the core of our everyday struggles, our desires, and the deep restlessness many of us feel. Today, let's unravel this mystery together. And if you stick around, you might just discover a truth that shifts your entire perspective on life. Hey everyone, I'm Levan, and on this channel we dive deep into the ideas that challenge our understanding of the self and the universe. Today I want to share some profound insights I've learned from one of my greatest inspirations, Eckhart Tolle. His teachings on the nature of identity and consciousness have transformed the way I see the world, and I believe they hold the key to a deeper, more fulfilling life. We'll explore the illusion of form identity, the dance between form and formlessness, the awakening from the dream of form, and the power of conscious creation. Each of these insights can radically shift how you experience yourself and the world around you, leading to a life of greater peace, purpose, and presence. So if you're ready to look beyond the surface of your everyday experience and discover a deeper truth, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. One of the most profound insights from Eckhart Tolle's work is his exploration of what he calls form identity. This concept is at the heart of much of his teaching, and it is a critical piece in understanding why so many of us feel disconnected, anxious, or incomplete. Understanding form identity and learning to see beyond it is the first step toward a deeper, more authentic sense of self. Form identity is essentially the mental image we carry of ourselves, the collection of labels, roles, and stories we've built up over a lifetime. It includes everything we typically associate with the word I, our physical body, our personality, our achievements, our failures, our thoughts, and our relationships. It's the story of who we think we are, the narrative we've constructed from past experiences, cultural conditioning, and the expectation of others. But here's the catch. This form identity, while deeply familiar, is not who we truly are. It is a fleeting, ever-changing story, a temporary projection of the mind that we mistakenly take to be our true self. Toll often points out that this identity is a mental construct, a mental bundle of memories and conditioning, and not the deep, unchanging essence of who we are. Consider this. The body you identify with today is not the same body you had as a child. Your thoughts, opinions, and beliefs have likely shifted countless times over the years. Even your closest relationships, which might feel so central to your identity, are constantly evolving. If all of these elements are in a state of constant change, how can any of them be the foundation of your true identity? This illusion of form identity is a major source of human suffering. When we base our sense of self on things that are inherently unstable, we live in a state of constant insecurity. We fear aging because it threatens our physical form. We fear failure because it undermines our story of achievement. We fear rejection because it challenges our social identity. In each case, our suffering arises from the mistaken belief that we are these temporary external forms. Tolle often uses the metaphor of the ocean and its waves to illustrate this. Just as each wave is a temporary expression of the deeper ocean, so too are our thoughts, emotions, and physical forms temporary expressions of a much deeper, more fundamental consciousness. The wave rises, takes on a unique shape, and then dissolves back into the ocean, but the ocean itself remains untouched, vast, and formless. Recognizing this distinction is a powerful step toward freedom. It means realizing that we are not the fragile, ever-changing forms we have identified with, but the timeless awareness in which those forms arise. As Tolle puts it, you are not thing that happens in the universe. You are the universe happening as a person for a little while. This shift in perspective frees us from the endless cycle of fear and desire that characterizes the form-based identity. When you stop identifying with form, you stop fearing its loss. You become less reactive, less anxious, and more at peace. You become, as Tolle might say, the space in which all experiences arise rather than the experiences themselves. So, however, breaking free from this form identity is not always easy. It requires a deep, ongoing awareness of how we identify with our thoughts, emotions, and life circumstances. It involves questioning the deeply ingrained habits of mind that constantly reinforce our sense of separateness and isolation. One powerful practice Tolle suggests is simply observing your thoughts with. Once we begin to see through the illusion of form identity, a deeper, more profound realization becomes possible. The recognition that our true nature is not just separate from form, but also deeply interconnected with all of existence. This brings us to one of the most powerful concepts in Eckhart Tolle's teachings, the dance of form and formlessness. At first, this might sound abstract, but it's actually a deeply practical insight that can transform how we experience life. Just as each wave on the surface of the ocean is a temporary expression of the vast, still depths beneath, so too are our bodies, thoughts, and life stories mere surface expressions of a deeper, formless consciousness. This formless essence is the true foundation of our being, because it's the silent, unchanging awareness that lies beneath the ever-shifting patterns of form. In this sense, every form is like a ripple on the surface of consciousness, a brief, unique expression of the formless ocean of being. Our thoughts, emotions, and physical forms come into being, dance upon the surface of awareness for a while, and then dissolve back into the stillness from which they arose. Yet, just as the ocean itself remains untouched by the rise and fall of its waves, our true essence remains unchanged by the dramas and fluctuations of our external lives. This understanding can radically shift how we approach life. When we realize that we are not merely the isolated forms we appear to be, but expressions of a vast, interconnected whole, we become less fearful, less defensive, and less driven by the ego's constant need for validation. We come to see that we are not separate, struggling individuals, but unique, temporary expressions of a single unified consciousness. Once we understand the dance between form and formlessness, the next step is to awaken from the dream of form itself. This is one of the central themes in Eckhart Tolle's teachings, in the idea that most of humanity lives in a state of deep identification with form, completely unaware of the formless dimension that underlies all existence. To awaken from this dream is to break free from the mental structures that keep us trapped in a small, separate sense of self. It is to recognize on a deep and direct level that the person you think you are, with all your roles, memories, and identities, is not the full picture. In Tolle's words, you are the universe expressing itself as a human for a little while. This awakening is not merely an intellectual understanding, it is a profound shift in consciousness. a realization that goes beyond concepts and thoughts. It is the direct experience of the still, spacious awareness that lies beneath the surface of the mind. It is the realization that, in the deepest sense, you are not the story of your life, but the timeless presence in which that story unfolds. Once you begin to awaken from the dream of form, a new dimension of living opens up, one that is rooted in the present moment and aligned with the deeper intelligence of the universe. This is what Eckhart Tolle often refers to as conscious creation. It's about moving from a life driven by ego and fear to one guided by presence and awareness. At its core, conscious creation is not about making things happen through sheer force of will or obsessive planning. Instead, it is about aligning your actions with the natural flow of life, allowing the deeper formless essence of who you are to express itself through you. It is about creating from a place of inner stillness rather than a restless, grasping mind. And this approach fundamentally shifts our relationship with the world. Instead of seeing ourselves as isolated, struggling individuals trying to impose our will on an indifferent universe, we come to see ourselves as expressions of a single interconnected whole. We move from a mindset of getting and achieving to one of allowing and expressing. We become channels for the creative power of the universe rather than mere consumers of its resources. Tolle often draws a distinction between wanting and intending. Wanting issue, in his view, comes from a sense of lack, a feeling that something is missing, that we need to add something to ourselves in order to be complete. Intending, on the other hand, comes from a place of fullness and connection. It is not about striving to become something you are not, but about allowing your true nature to express itself in the world. This shift from wanting to intending is a subtle but powerful one. It means moving from a state of inner resistance to a state of inner alignment. It means letting go of the need to control outcomes and trusting in the deeper intelligence of life. It means acting from a place of presence rather than fear or desire. Practically speaking, this might look like pursuing your passions without becoming attached to the results, or setting goals without letting your happiness depend on their achievement. It might mean listening more deeply to your inner intuition rather than constantly second guessing yourself or worrying about what others think. It might mean being fully present in each moment rather than constantly projecting yourself into an imagined future or replaying the past in your mind. This approach to creation is not just more peaceful and fulfilling, it is also more effective. When you act from a place of inner alignment, your actions tend to be more focused, more inspired, and more in tune with the natural flow of life. You become like a surfer, riding the crest of a wave, moving with the energy of the ocean rather than struggling against it. Of course, this does not mean that challenges and obstacles will disappear. Life will continue to present its share of difficulties and setbacks, but when you are rooted in the present moment, these challenges no longer feel like personal threats. They become simply part of the unfolding dance of form and formlessness, opportunities for growth and learning rather than problems to be resisted or avoided. In this way, conscious creation is not about escaping the world or retreating into some passive state of detachment. It is about becoming fully engaged with life, but from a place of inner stillness and clarity. It is about living from your essence rather than your ego, or from the formless awareness that you truly are, rather than the restless, fearful mind that you have mistakenly taken yourself to be. As we reach the final part of this exploration, it's important to reflect on what it truly means to live in a state of conscious presence. This is not just about achieving a quiet mind or escaping the chaos of everyday life. For us, it is about fundamentally transforming the way we relate to ourselves and the world around us. Living in conscious presence means being deeply rooted in the now, the only moment that ever truly exists. It means moving beyond the constant stream of thoughts, judgments, and mental noise that typically dominate our awareness, and instead becoming the silent, spacious awareness in which all experiences arise. It means living not from the restless mind, but from the stillness of being. This shift in perspective has profound implications for every aspect of our lives. It means approaching each moment with a sense of openness and curiosity, rather than being trapped in the narrow confines of past conditioning and future expectations. It means listening deeply to others without the constant need to judge or evaluate. It means acting from a place of inner clarity and alignment rather than fear or desire. When we live in this state of conscious presence, our lives become less about achieving and more about being, less about doing and more about allowing. We become like clear, still ponds reflecting the world around us without distortion, rather than turbulent rivers constantly churning with unresolved thoughts and emotions. This doesn't mean that we stop caring or that we become passive observers of life. On the contrary, it means becoming more fully engaged with the world, but from a place of inner stillness and clarity. It means being fully alive and present in each moment without being trapped by the stories of our minds. As Tolle puts it, presence is the awakened state that frees you from the illusion of separateness and reconnects you with the deeper, formless essence of who you truly are. It is the realization that beneath the surface of your thoughts and emotions, you are already complete, already whole, already free. In this state, even the most ordinary moments take on a new depth and significance. A simple walk in the park, a conversation with a friend, or a quiet moment alone can become profound experiences of connection and peace. The world itself becomes more vibrant, more alive, more sacred, because you are no longer seeing it through the distorting lens of the ego. And this ultimately is the true power of presence, the power to transform not only our inner lives, but also the world around us. When we live in this state of awareness, we naturally become a source of peace and compassion for others. Our actions become more harmonious, our relationships more meaningful, and our work more fulfilling. As we come to the end of this journey, I want to thank you for being here, for taking the time to explore these deep, often challenging ideas. If you found this journey meaningful, I encourage you to continue exploring these thought concepts in your own life. Reflect on what you've learned, share your insights in the comments, and if you haven't already, consider subscribing to this channel so we can continue this journey together. Thank you for watching, and remember, the real journey is not about becoming something or someone, but about remembering what you already are. Stay present, stay conscious, and stay true to yourself. See you in the next video.